Joining me now is Chris Swecker, a former FBI assistant director and former FBI agent and attorney. Chris, great to see you. Thanks very much for being here. What's your reaction to this trial?
Yeah, you know, as a former prosecutor, and I've been practicing law since I retired from the FBI, you get a sense of what a jury is thinking. They're unpredictable. But I think in this case, you often see the defense, the defense usually tries to confuse the jury in a criminal trial, and then they default to, well, there's reasonable doubt. In this case, I feel like the prosecution has tried to confuse the jury. And then when they do that, because it's a complex, convoluted case, when they do that, then the jury sort of defaults to the judge. And we all know this judge has had his thumb on the scale from day one. And then they look over at the defense table and they say, well, there he sits in the, he's in the defense table over there. He must be guilty of something. So in this case, there's a very Machiavellian approach to this. It's confuse the jury, throw a lot of counts at him, hope the jury gets confused. And now they're asking about testimony from Cohen. They want to reread testimony from Cohen. I see that as a bad sign. Cohen's testimony ought to have been discarded completely, but yet they're now asking about that. So that's a bad omen, I think.
Well, so do you think maybe that there's disagreement among the jurors? Like maybe some of them are sure they want to go one way, and others are saying no, I'm going to go the other way, and then that's why they say, well, let's look at that again.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. We look at the John Edwards case, for example. There was something similar going on there. He was trying to cover up, allegedly trying to cover up some sort of a marital affair. That jury went for 12 days and then hung. They rendered a not guilty verdict on one count and then hung on 5 others. I think the longer this jury is out, the better it is for Trump. At least it speaks of a hung jury. And then if a hung jury comes about, it'll take a long time to retry this case. It'll be long after the election. So I fear that these 2 lawyers on the panel, these 2 New York lawyers on this jury panel, are going to have an outsized influence on other jurors. Then I think they're spring-loaded towards sort of influencing them. They're lawyers. They're New York lawyers. They're going to be, on the progressive side, shall we say. So I'm afraid that they're going to have some influence.
Interesting. Do you all agree with that? You're a lawyer, right, Todd?
Yeah, Chris, I don't know. I mean, we were just talking about this in the green room earlier. Yes, you may be a lawyer, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you engaged in criminal law when you were there. And Trey Gowdy had a great example. Yeah. Talking with Steve Doocy on my show the other day, basically said, this is like me saying, do you want me to write your will? And Steve would rather have Brian Kilmeade write the will than Trey Gowdy, because you are specialized in certain things. So I don't know how necessarily that matters. But what I do think matters is the fact that they are going to actually care about the jury instructions. And I think, my gut, you tell me if you agree, that ultimately was the reasoning for the recitation again of the jury instructions one final time yesterday. It's those lawyers saying, hey, we need to be buttoned up on this because the instructions to the jury and how we follow the elements of the case actually matters. Your thoughts, Chris?
Yeah, I don't think these 2 lawyers are going to be able to help themselves, but, from trying to interpret that law, because they don't have it in writing. It's all verbal, and the judges force them to go back and ask questions if they want to hear more about the law. He's basically taken the law out of the hands of the lawyers. Normally, a defense would take the elements, would recite the elements of a defense, and then go through A, B, C, and D of those elements, saying they didn't meet their burden here, didn't meet their burden here, didn't meet their burden here. In this case, this judge has taken that part of the argument out of the picture. So, that part alone, I think, shows a sort of a bias on the part of the judge. I mean, everybody's been talking about this, that he's clearly got his thumb on the scale there. And with respect to the 2 lawyers, I don't know. We don't know anything about them, but I just feel like lawyers in general like to explain things. They're not going to be able to help themselves from not doing it.
Trump is asking the New York Court of Appeals to expedite the review of his gag order. Meanwhile, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance is calling for a criminal investigation into Judge Merchan over his gag order enforcement. Vance writing to AG Merrick Garland, quote, the public evidence suggests an investigation is warranted at least, and all indications are that the responsible parties have their sights set not only on rights protected by the Constitution, but on rights holders of core federal concern, including the leading candidate for the presidency, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big issue. I think a bigger issue here is if he's convicted, how quickly can this get up to the appellate courts? Because there is mountains of reversible error here from start to finish. And, the gag order is one thing. Maybe he succeeds on that. But the more important thing here is he wants to avoid having that felon label on him as we lead up to the election. And that's the whole purpose of this prosecution. So, I would look for an expedited appeal as quickly as they can. I doubt we'll see it. But, and we got a presidential candidate here. Maybe they can expedite it.
So
you can see I'm a little bit pessimistic here about this jury.
Yeah, what happens if he gets a conviction then? How does that play out?
Well, then immediate appeals, post-trial motions, will come first. I don't think this judge will rule favorably towards the defense on the very quick post-trial motions. Then it gets up to the appellate court as quickly as possible. Then who knows what happens in New York? Does it move quickly because of the nature, because of the election, or do they slow it down? And I think that's key here because, again, unpredictable juries. I don't like that they're asking about testimony on Cohen's part.
Yeah.
They should be discarding that completely.
Yeah. Attorney for President Trump, Will Scharf, who was on the president's appellate team, joined this program last week. He says the courts will, quote, ultimately get it right on appealing any conviction. Watch this.
There are any number of issues that we would raise on appeal. Obviously, evidentiary sufficiency, the total dearth of evidence here is something that we would raise. Numerous trial decisions by Judge Merchan relating to what evidence he allowed in, what evidence he didn't allow in, what sorts of arguments he allowed to be made, what sorts of arguments he kept out of the courtroom. Any fair jury would see through this sham of a case, and I'm hopeful that the jury seated in this case can look past any potential political issues, any potential political biases, and see this case for what it is, which is an absolutely baseless prosecution brought for fundamentally political, not legal reasons.
Well, but, Chris, they may actually be victorious because even if the appeal wins, that would happen after the election, right?
Right.
They would still impact Trump's chances because it would happen after the election.
Yeah, highly likely. I mean, unless they can just get, a very speedy appeal, get it up to the appellate courts quickly. But, they have to frame their arguments. That takes time. You have to brief it up. They have to pull the record out from the lower court, bring it up. That takes a lot of time, and it's a very long, drawn-out process. So, here we know that there are mountains of appellate, reasons for the appeal, basis for the appeal.
Yep.
It's all there. The judge should have directed a verdict right after the prosecution's case.
Wow. All right.
No question
Chris,
about that from a legal perspective.
Chris, I mean, so many decisions we're questioning. I mean, why the prosecution went last in the closing arguments is another thing people are questioning because that's not typical. Chris, it's great to get your insight. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Maria.
Chris Swecker here with us on the Trump trial. Stay with us. We'll be right back.